Tape www.suividecolosénégal.com. À École au Sénégal, c'est facile, tu n'as qu'à te connecter. Tape École au Sénégal, les leçons sont beaucoup plus détaillées.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's doing good. This is still Teacher Raisa at your service. Last week we had worked on vocabularies and different aspects as far as home and furniture are concerned. I hope that you build up your vocabulary. I hope that you did your research. I hope that it was useful and that you're using it now and that you know how to spell it, how to pronounce it, and when and where to use it. And so today it's going to be a little bit different, okay? Today we're going to work on expressions. Okay, expressions and what to say and how properly to say. You're going to look at different examples of different expressions, okay, and we're going to start off with agreement. How do we agree? What is the right term to use if you're agreeing about someone or about something or about a situation? What are the right words to use? Okay, and as well as disagreement, and then we're going to talk about partial agreement, because sometimes we may not accept or agree totally with what somebody said. So what are some of the terms to use in the English language in order to have a good production of your language, be it the writing, be it the oral, the speaking? There has to be a good communication, and then the good communication, it's a lot about how you agree with people. If you're in a management situation, what is the right way or to say something, or without actually hurting the other person? Even at home, even with friends, what's the proper way, to the courteous way to either agree with someone or not agree with someone, without necessarily hurting that person's feeling, without necessarily trying to look kind of rude. So we are going to look at all that today, and there are different, I've given on the board, as you see, there are different, I've given a bunch of examples. You don't have to know all of it, okay? What I advise you to do is to get in, to sink in at least 6 or 7 of them. At least 6 or 7 of them, okay, that you know and that you can use, so that you build up your vocabulary. The essence of doing all of this is that your vocabulary is built up, so that you change your way of talking. You cannot be talking the same way if you were in the 6th or 7th grade. So you got to change it now that you're in the 10th and 9th and 10th grade. Your way of talking, your way of thinking, of writing, please take note, has got to be different. Okay, and so today we're going to look at this particular part. You see how I tabled it as I wrote it? I wrote expressions up, and then I subtitled it, and then I subtitled title 1, which talks about agreement. What is agreement? Agreement means that you're in accordance, you're in accord, you're in the same line with what has been said or what is happening. That's an agreement. Okay, an agreement sometimes could be in a written form or in an oral form, in a paper, that you agree that, okay, both parties will start next week. You're agreeing that with a statement, for example, you're agreeing with a statement, you're agreeing that the events were unfolded this particular way. It means you're in accordance. It means that you're at the same level. It means that there is no change, that it's true, okay, that you're validating something. That is an agreement. That is a validation of something or of someone or of an event or something. That's an agreement. And before you agree to something, you got to make sure that it's right. You don't agree just because, okay? You have to make sure that you got the proofs, or you want to make sure that things are right, or that's your point of view and that you stick to it and you have reasons to back it up. It doesn't matter if you're disagreeing or you're agreeing, but whatever the reason may be, you should have backing reasons, okay? And so on the board we have agreement. See, we have agreement, and I have a bunch of sentences that you can use as far as agreement is concerned. It could be agreeing with someone, it could be agreeing about a situation, it could be agreeing for something. And so these are a couple of them that we're going to look at together. And so I put this in bracket because the first one is what we often use. I agree with you. I agree with you. It's something that we often use, and I would really love if we really stop using I agree with you. If we could, because it's too simple, it's too basic, it's just too low. That's the first thing that you learn in primary. You're in college, your language is supposed to be different. Please stop using I agree with you. There are lots of other words and lots of other sentences that you can probably use that would actually make sense and that would boost up your English, or, you know. And so the first one, rather than saying I agree with you, let me change the color. Rather than saying all the time, oh yeah, that's true. Another one is, oh yes, that's true. Oh yes, that's true. Stop saying that's true. There are other things that you can say. Or you hear often people say, that's a form word, What is Use something, use your words, say them out. Do not say That's not proper. That's not proper. As people in school, as academicians that you are, students that you are, use your words. Yes. I don't say, that's true. What is that's true? Or, you know, and so we have, I completely agree with you. That could be something you can use. I completely agree with you. I totally agree with you. You know, I totally. It means it is so true that everything that he or she said or presented has no, you know, there's no difference, there's no changes. So I totally agree with you. Totally, completely, quite the same thing. You know, that you probably don't have anything extra to say just because maybe that person said it all. And so I completely agree with you. I totally agree with you. I really do agree with what you're saying. You know, I really do agree with you. I absolutely, you get the grammar, it's going better and better, completely, totally, absolutely, you know, rather than just saying I agree with you or that's true, yes, or I honestly think that's true. I honestly, it means deep inside of you, it's quite, it's unexplicable. Okay, I honestly believe that's true. I truly believe that's true. Oftentimes you hear honest and truly is a terms that are more biblical or more religious, if I may say. You know, I truly believe that you'll make it in your exams. I honestly feel that if you pray, you're going to have your answers. You know, it's totally true, you know, about maybe a scene or something that happened. I agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that. I totally agree with what you said. I completely agree. I completely adhere. That's another one. To adhere to what you're saying. I adhere to what you're saying. You know, it's true, you know, about what you're saying. I really think, or I believe so too. I really think so. I really think so. Oh, do you really think? Do you think that if I work hard, if I study hard, I'm going to make it this time around? Oh, yes, just put in double efforts. I really think so. I really do believe, you know, and that you will make it. I really do think so too, you know. I couldn't agree more. If someone says something that is so complete that you actually did not believe that person was going to say that, you say, oh, I couldn't agree more. Maybe you're in an argument or a debate, or you're trying to do a pro and con kind of thing, a debate or conversation. So, oh yes, I couldn't agree more. I just couldn't. There's nothing to disqualify you about it. So I couldn't agree more. Fair enough. Fair enough is a term that sometimes people use it when they just don't want to go back and forth. You know, you're probably maybe exhausted by something or exhausted by the day, or but you're not completely sure, but you're okay, I'm just going to jump into the waters. You say, well, okay, after maybe a dispute, and oftentimes it's just when you have a lot of disputes, after a disputed conversation or, you know, an argument or so, you'll be like, okay, fair enough. That's good enough. You know, sort of way like you're almost not wanting to continue to go on. You know, you just want to get it done. And so you say, okay, fair enough, good enough. It's another way of saying, okay, I'm with you on this. You know, whatever it goes, however it goes, you know, I'm with you on it. Fair enough. Okay? And then I've come to the same conclusion. Maybe you're deciding over, maybe most people are like in a disciplinary council, or maybe having a debating kind of thing, or you have to prove certain things. And then at the end of the day, somebody brings out valuable points, you know, concrete reasons why. And so you say, well, okay, after doing the same conclusion, or even in math, After doing the same conclusion, the teacher asks, the board, so does anybody have a different answer to it? You say, oh no, teacher, I'm sorry, I've come to the same conclusion. I've come to the same conclusion. It means you're agreeing that the calculations or the steps taken to get to the answer are correct. Or you agree that the research is done and all that, and you have the conclusions, are correct. So I have come to the same conclusion that, the steps taken, that the answer is correct. So I have come to the same conclusion. I hold the same opinion. I hold the same opinion. Is somebody having the same idea like you? Is somebody having the same thoughts like you? I hold the same opinion. Just to say, maybe you don't want to, maybe in a voting situation, or a situation of people that are supposed to express themselves, and you don't feel like you need to talk extra. Oh yeah, about that topic, about immigration. I hold the same opinion. I hold the same opinion like my counterpart. I hold the same opinion like my partner, like my mate. It's the same thing. Oh yes, I hold the same opinion. It's to say that you're agreeing with what your partner said. You're agreeing with what your mate said. I hold the same opinion. No doubt about it. It means there's no doubt. It means you don't think different. There's no glimpse of difference. There's no glimpse of interference. There's no glimpse of something that's not true. So no doubt about it. No doubt about it that God remains God, no matter the situation. No doubt about it that you're going to make it if you just work hard. No doubt about it that working hard is just one of the ways to success. No doubt about it. So you don't have, it's undisputable, that's the term. It's undeniable. You just cannot flinch. It's just something that it cannot change. Why are you trying to dispute it? Why are you trying to disqualify when there's no doubt about it that if you get up on time, you will make it to school on time? Okay, and then I have no objection whatsoever. No objection. It means that I'm not going to say anything against it. There's nothing contrary to say. There's nothing contrary to met out. I have no objection, sir. And oftentimes you hear that in court, or during cases, or even during marriages, weddings, to ask, is anybody against this? Is anybody against this couple? Is anybody against this presentation or this argument? Is anybody against the judging or the ruling of something? I'd be like, oh no, I have no objection, sir. I have no objection whatsoever. Whatever you do, whatever you say, I'm with it. I'm right there. I'm supportive of what you say. So there is no objection whatsoever. And then you have a point there. You have a point there. Maybe you said something that kind of blew your mind, and bam, you thought about saying, oh yeah, you have a point there. I didn't really think about that. And that's quite true. You have a point there. That's particularly when somebody throws something that actually did not cross your mind, and then it brought you now, and then when he or she said it, and then it got you thinking, and you're like, oh yeah, that's true. You're quite right. If I probably take the shortcut, I'll probably get to school on time. If I probably went through McMo's, I'll probably get to school on time. Oh yeah, you got a point there. Yes, of course. It's so simple. It's just basic. Yes, of course. Which is something that I don't really, often use. But yes, of course. Would you want a cup of coffee? Yes, of course. You're agreeing to that offer. Yes, of course. It's simple, it's concise, it's polite. Yes, of course, I would like a cup of coffee. Yes, of course, I would love a glass of whiskey. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. I share your opinion. It's almost like I hold the same opinion. I share your opinion, I hold the same opinion. I mean, so whatever you said, whatever you must have presented, is of the same idea, like your like minds, of the same like me. There's some kind of a simile. So I share the same opinion. We are of one mind. We are of one mind. Maybe you said something that the person was thinking and was not able to say it as soon as possible, or as opportunity presented. You said, oh yeah, we're of one mind. I don't need to repeat myself. He just said what I wanted to say. So we are of one mind. What he said is correct. So we are of one mind. We're thinking the same way. So whatever you're saying, I totally agree with you. I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you on that. Okay. And then That's really a good or a great point. That's really a good point. If it's okay, if it's a point that, it's like, well, yeah, that's a good point. But what if it's a point that is just, wow, it's a point that's a major point. Oh, that is a great point. So it depends on the level of the agreement. So it depends, and so that brings you to what word you're going to use. That's a good one. Good job. That's a good one. You found the answer. That's a good point, But if it was something that is just extraordinary, something that you may have thought of it and it slipped your mind, oh, that's a great point. That's a great idea. That's a great suggestion. That's a great recommendation. That's a great point. It means that I totally agree with what you're saying or what you're giving as reasons, and that's so true. That is so true. Okay, that is so true. Oftentimes you hear it, oh, what do you think? I think I lost some weight. Oh yeah, that's so true. You did lose weight. That is so true. And so that's so true. And yes, of course, and I agree. Those are more informal ways of talking. That's a full informal sentences. Okay, so you should be able to decipher. You should be able to recognize, to separate what's formal and what's informal, in a conversation, a communication. So these are just the various ways, depending on what is going on, that you need to use. Please be able to identify, I completely and totally and honestly, I truly, I sincerely, I undeniably. So do you get those words that are coming out of my mouth? Those are words that you can actually use to boost up it and say, yes, of course, oh, I agree, oh, true, oh, okay, that's good. No. Oh no, that is too simple. Get out of it, get over it, step out of it, move, use better words, okay? And so these are forms of the agreements that you can use.